If you got a trip to Europe this year, or you're flying through New York or Boston, this week, I need you to stop right now because two things just went wrong at the same time. Good morning. I'm Maureen Cunningham, and this is What in the World? Your travel news briefing. 10 stories today. 2 of them urgent, so let's get into it. Europe's new border system, creating 7-hour airport lines. Here's what that means if you got a trip to Europe or Italy, especially, or anywhere else this year in the European Schengen entry-exit system. Their new entry-exit fingerprint and passport scanning system is creating airport lines as long as 7 hours at major hubs. Travel industry groups are now urging EU to pause it. If you've got a European trip on the calendar, build in serious extra time at arrival and departure, especially in Italy. And if Europe's a headache today, so is the East Coast. Northeast storm waivers. If you're flying through New York, Newark, or Boston this week, storms just triggered airline waivers. Check yours before you spend a dime rebooking. Severe storms have tore into the Northeast, grounding flights and causing major travel delays at JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark, and Boston. LaGuardia alone saw a 7% of departures delayed. Airlines have issued travel waivers, so check your eligibility before you rebook out of pocket. Now, let's shift from problems to possibilities. Holland America short cruises. So if cruising has always been seemed like a big commitment, an entire week, and you don't know if you'll like it, Holland America has just added smaller, shorter Caribbean sailings coming for 2027 and 2028. They're testing shorter Caribbean cruises for 2027-2028 with 29 itineraries across multiple ports. A smart entry point if a full week at sea feels like a lot for a first cruise. And I honestly don't usually recommend a cruise longer or shorter than a week, but Holland America line is a more adult-friendly cruise line, so I think you could keep away from the party scene too much on that cruise line, so I highly recommend it. Now, if you're staying on the water, Regent Seven Seas has added pickleball at sea. Yes, they've just added real courts to one of their luxury ships, and it's a fun reason to look twice at this cruise line. They're adding a competition standard sports deck, padel, and pickleball courts included to the Seven Seas Prestige ship, a playful addition to one of the most all-inclusive luxury lines at sea. But speaking of cruise departures, if you're in Miami pre or post cruise, the hotels, if you're sailing out of Miami, don't just book the closest airport hotel. There are some actually worth the extra night, and I'm going to make a list of those fresh roundup of Miami hotels worth booking around a cruise departure. It just came out, focused on location, design, and food rather than just proximity to the port. And if resorts are more your speed, Sandals Island Insiders Club. Sandals which is Sandals and Beaches, has just rebuilt its entire loyalty program. And if you've stayed there before, here's what's new and what it means for your next trip. They've replaced their royalty rewards program with a new Island Insiders Club, launching July 1st, with 7 membership tiers and perks like a room upgrade hotline and flexible spa or excursion credits. Current members keep their status, nothing resets. Now, 2 hotel debuts worth a daydream. Alila Hakone, which is Hyatt's most design-forward brand. It's just picked Japan's hot springs country for its first Japan hotel, and it's got a lot more tempting. Their boutique Alila brand is opening their first location in Hakone, the Hot spring town famous for mountain views and traditional Riocan culture. Over in Spain, Kimpton, Madrid. Kimpton is headed to Madrid for the first time. And good news is Spain is on your someday list. IHG has signed Kimpton's first Madrid property, giving the brand its fourth hotel in Spain. First in Madrid, fourth in Spain. But the last two are quick wins for how you actually move through an airport. Canada is doing a transit skip. If your next trip is connecting through one of these hotels, you might be able to skip the border check entirely now. That would be Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver. You'll be able to skip the border checkpoint entirely. So moving on to TSA PreCheck. Google Wallet has just teamed up with TSA PreCheck. So you can now enroll in a touchless PreCheck and use your phone as your ID. So they're the first. Google Wallet is the first digital wallet to let you enroll directly in TSA PreCheck's touchless ID, already active at more than 65 US airports. But your single takeaway here is, if you are headed out to Europe, if it's on your calendar for this year at all, you definitely want to keep an eye on your airline wait times, the airport sites, check those border lines. It's not a rumor, it's actually happening. Tomorrow's got more